Hello mga ka-Easy Law, this is Attorney Chato Olivas of Easy Law Online. And in this video, I would like to talk about 25 things to remember about summons. I am using the post on my blog, attorneychatolibrary.blogspot.com. Gusto kong i-share ang blog na to with you because there are many resources na in-upload ko which can help you as a law student and as a bar reviewee. Okay, so summons, this is the way in which the court acquires jurisdiction over the person of the defendant in a civil case. Here are 25 important things to remember about service of summons in the Philippines under the 2019 amendments to the rules on civil procedure. Number 1, the 5-day window. Once a complaint is filed, the clerk of court must issue the summons within 5 calendar days. Yung summons, this is a directive by the court requiring the defendant to file an answer within 30 days from service of summons. Number 2, summons has an indefinite validity. It does not expire. It remains valid until it is served unless recalled by the court or unless it has been returned by the sheriff or proper process server to the court. Number 3, sino ang nagsaserve ng summons? Primarily, it is the sheriff, his deputy, or other proper court officer or ang tinatawag natin na process server. And secondarily, if you look at number 4, the plaintiff. The plaintiff has a backup role in service of summons. If the sheriff fails, the plaintiff may be authorized by the court to serve the summons. Number 5, corporate plaintiffs. If the plaintiff is a corporation, of course, hindi naman pwedeng yung corporation ang magsaserve ng summons. So, the corporation must authorize an individual, a specific person to serve summons, and this authorization must appear in a board resolution. Number 6, misrepresentation. If a plaintiff misrepresents that a defendant was served with summons when he was not, the case will be dismissed with prejudice. The proceedings will be nullified and sanctions may be imposed upon the plaintiff. Bakit? Because this is extrinsic fraud. Extrinsic fraud in remedial law is the way in which a plaintiff deprives the defendant of his right to procedural due process. Hindi niya pinapabayaan na mag-participate ang defendant sa court proceedings. So this is why it is called extrinsic fraud. Compared or in contrast to intrinsic fraud, which goes into the validity of the act that is the subject matter of the case, like a contract. So again, kapag remedial law, pag pinag-usapan ng fraud, we're talking of extrinsic fraud, not intrinsic fraud. Number 7, service in person is preferred. This is the gold standard in service of summons in a civil case. Ibig sabihin nito, the process server, the sheriff, or the plaintiff is authorized, if authorized, will be the one to personally hand over the summons to the defendant. Hindi pwedeng ibibigay niya sa another person. So this is service in person. But that's the general rule because we also have what we know as substituted service, meaning giving the summons to another person besides the defendant. Pero bago magkaroon ng substituted service, you go to number 8, the 3-attempt rule. You can only resort to substituted service after 3 attempts on at least 2 separate dates. Substituted service means serving summons on a person other than the defendant. Okay, so number 9, what is the definition of a competent person? For substituted service at a residence, the recipient must have 3 characteristics. Number 1, he must be at least 18 years old. Number 2, he must have sufficient discretion. And number 3, he must be a resident and not just a visitor. So kapag ang receive ng summons is 17 years old and 10 months, for example, that's not going to be valid. Or wala siyang sufficient discretion, or he is just a visitor, then summons will not be considered to have been validly served. Number 10, the HOA option. HOA stands for Homeowners Association. So you can leave the summons with a Homeowners Association president or a responsible officer if the defendant lives in a gated community, or chief security officer in charge of the community. Big sabihin, hindi pwedeng security guard. Dapat chief security officer in charge of the community. Number 11, the condo security rule. For those who live in condominiums, leaving the summons with a condominium chief security officer is now a valid substituted service. Again, dapat chief security officer, hindi lang any security guard. Substituted service by leaving summons with a security guard who is not the chief security officer will not be considered valid. Number 12, kapag sa office naman. So, for defendants who are natural persons, the sheriff can leave the summons with a competent person in charge of the defendant's office or regular place of business. Keywords, competent person. So, to be considered a competent person in charge, he or she must customarily receive correspondence for the defendant. Hindi yung there is a security guard outside, hindi pwedeng iwanan yung summons dun sa security guard. Dapat competent person in charge. And yung pagtanggap ng correspondence must be part of his regular or customary functions. Number 13, exclusive list for domestic corporations. You can only serve summons upon domestic corporations through the president, managing partner in case of a partnership, general manager, corporate secretary, treasurer, or in-house counsel, and no other person. So you have to memorize this enumeration. Number 14, secretary rule. If the above officers are unavailable and only if they are all not available, you can serve summons upon their respective secretaries. Number 15, receivership or liquidation. In case the domestic juridical entity is under receivership or liquidation, summons may be served on the receiver or liquidator as the case may be and on no other person. Number 16, for foreign corporations, service can be made to the resident agent, if none, to the government office designated by law, such as the Insurance Commission for foreign insurance companies. Service can also be made on any of its officers, agents, directors, or trustees within the Philippines. This is for foreign corporations that have transacted or are doing business in the Philippines. 17. Service by counsel. If a lawyer appears for a defendant and says that his client, the defendant, was not served with summons, the court will deputize that lawyer to serve the summons on his own client. 18. Service via email. This may be done if allowed by the court. 19. International service. For defendants outside the Philippines, summons can be served by personal service in ways provided by international conventions to which the Philippines is a party, or by publication plus registered mail to the defendant's last known address. So these are 3 different ways. 20. If the defendants are spouses, service on one does not automatically count as service on the other. Each of them must be served with summons individually. 21. Minors and incompetents. Summons must be served on the minor or incompetent and their guardian or parent. 22. For prisoners, if the defendant is in prison, summons must be served by the officer having management of the jail or institution who is then deemed a special sheriff. 23. The 30-day service. The server must serve the summons within 30 calendar days from the date of receipt and submit a return to the court within 5 days from service. Return is what we call a written report by the sheriff or process server to the court giving details on how the summons was served or explaining why it was not served. 24. Voluntary appearance. If the defendant files an answer or asks the court for a favorable remedy, which we call affirmative relief, such as a motion for extension of time to file an answer, or if his attorney files an entry of appearance the summons is considered served. And 25, the jurisdiction shield. Under the 2019 rules, challenging the court's jurisdiction over the person of the defendant is not considered a voluntary appearance. Until here for now, I will be seeing you in the next video.
Simplehan natin ang batas so we can do justice. That's easy law.